episode 403. We'll be talking about this week's episodes of Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor on HonorClub. Also, tonight's WWE Friday Night Smackdown right here, right now. 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. It is time for a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Lance Brock here, welcoming everyone. Thank you for tuning in right here on Spreaker or wherever you are listening to 360 Wrestling Fanatic right now. Hope everyone had a great Friday today to kick off the weekend, get it started, heading into Saturday. And I'm going to start off tonight's episode of the podcast, like I mentioned in that little preview opener there, talking about Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor on HonorClub from last night. And then on to tonight for WWE Friday Night Smackdown as the Raw World Championship tournament continues. And first though, let's get started talking about Impact Wrestling. And we have Masha Slamovich defeat Killer Kelly with a knockout 8 minutes 44 seconds. And Nick Aldis defeated Sheldon Jean. The Good Hands, Jason Hotch and John Skyler, defeated Decay, Crazy Steve, and Black Taurus. The Impact World Champion Steve Macklin successfully defends against the War Machine Rhino to retain the Impact World title. And then after the match, he goes after the attack on Rhino, on the leg of Rhino, and puts the leg on the steel steps, or on a chair I should say, and then hits the leg of Rhino with a shovel. Dirty Dango with Joe Hendry in his corner defeats Johnny Swinger with Ziggy Dice in his corner. The Coven, Kylie King and Taylor Wilde defeat the team of the Impact Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo and Jordan Grace. And then after the match, we see Trinity make her way to the ring for the save. Remember, Trinity will make her in-ring debut at Under Siege. I made a mistake there. I thought she wrestled at the tapings, but I guess not. I guess her first match in Impact will be at Under Siege, which she has an open contract for. And let's go over to HonorClub now, and we have Mark Briscoe defeated Shane Taylor, the Ring of Honor World Champion and the Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Champion, representing the Blackpool Combat Club. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta defeat Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus. The Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe defeated Blake Christian. The Righteous defeated the Infantry, and In this match, we see Stu Grayson this time make his way to the stage and kind of check out the Righteous. Robin Renegade defeated Verd Vixen. Willie Mack defeated Ninja Mack. The Battle of the Macks here. Pretty good match. The Embassy defeated Adam Priest, Lucky Ali, and Victor Benjamin. Kyle Fletcher from Aussie Open defeated Tony Deppen. AR Fox defeated Anthony Henry. Dark Order defeated Sonny Kiss, Jeeves K, Slim J, and Show Woods. And the Ring of Honor Women's Championship is on the line with their champion Athena defeating Sky Blue in what was a pretty good match. I have been very impressed with Sky Blue as of late. I think she has a bright future ahead of her in the business. And very impressed with Athena as Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She's another one, I think, how I've been saying about Orange Cassidy as of late as AEW International Champion, how he has been defending his title and having great matches with everybody he has been facing. And in my opinion, you can say the same thing about the Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena as well, having great matches on the Ring of Honor television show on HonorClub. And this week, her match with Sky Blue was no exception. And that was Ring of Honor on HonorClub for this week. And now let's move on to tonight. WWE Friday Night Smackdown. And Smackdown was live tonight. And the commentators, Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. And we kick things off with SmackDown tonight with the first triple threat match for the new Raw World Heavyweight Championship, even though they are having tournament matches on SmackDown, which to me makes no sense. And I apologize for mentioning that again. I know I probably sound like a broken record by now, but I have talked to other people, though, who agree with me that it doesn't make any sense. And I'll talk more about it in just a little bit after I'm done recapping the show. But our first triple threat match, the phenomenal AJ Styles defeats Edge and Rey Mysterio in a great opener on tonight's SmackDown, and to advance in this world title tournament later on tonight, and he will face the winner of the other triple threat match. This match, I just want to say I was a big fan of. You have two Hall of Famers in Edge and Rey Mysterio, and I'm sure one day a future Hall of Famer in AJ Styles. Great match with these three. As I said, the phenomenal AJ Styles getting the win to advance in the semifinals of the tournament later on tonight. And his opponent in that match, it will be the winner of this next triple threat match. And it is Bobby Lashley defeating Sheamus and the United States champion Austin Theory in another pretty good match. I didn't think it was as good as the first one, but still pretty good match here. Bobby Lashley advancing And later on tonight, in our main event on Smackdown, we will see AJ Styles take on Bobby Lashley to see who will advance to Night of Champions. And now we see newly drafted to WWE Smackdown from NXT, Cameron Grimes, the former Trevor Lee, taking on Baron Corbin. Before the match, Corbin gets on the mic and makes a joke about Cameron Grimes being the last draft pick by SmackDown. And this one is over, boom, right away, right from the start. And Cameron Grimes defeats Baron Corbin, makes very quick work of him. And the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeat Damage Control, Bayley, and Dakota Kai to retain the titles. The kind of trouble or problems continue with Damage Control. Again, I really hope that they do not split Damage Control up, or at least I don't want them to, but to be honest, I can kind of see them doing that. It wouldn't really surprise me if they do. They've been kind of teasing it as of late. But who knows though. And then we see the undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns, the rest of the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, the Usos, and the Wise Man Paul Heyman. And Roman starts his promo, and then he focuses his attention on the Usos. Mentions them losing the undisputed tag team titles to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and was disappointed that they dedicated it to him. And he's not a tag team wrestler. And at one point, Jimmy Uso looks really upset. Looks like he's going to get in the face. But then Jey Uso stops him, and then he apologizes to Roman Reigns. And then he says, or first though, Jimmy asks for another shot. He says they will get the titles back to the Bloodline. And Roman Reigns says the undisputed tag team championships are coming back to the Bloodline. And he brings Paul Heyman into the ring, who was standing on the apron. And he has him make the announcement that it will be challenging Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. And then Roman says that he's going to dedicate it to the greatest tag team of all time, Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans. As Roman, Solo, and Paul Heyman exit the ring together and leave the Usos standing in the ring, not looking too happy. So as of right now, nothing has officially happened just yet, but kind of looks like that the Usos aren't in too good of standing in the Bloodline. Looks like they could possibly be out soon. And I'll talk a little more about this once I'm done with the Smackdown recap. And now it is time for the main event of the evening, the semifinals, the finals, I guess you could say, of the Smackdown part of this Raw World Heavyweight Championship Tournament. The phenomenal AJ Styles taking on Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, and good match here between these two, but in the end, it is the phenomenal AJ Styles coming out on top, defeating Bobby Lashley. AJ Styles advances to the Night of Champions, and he will take on Seth freaking Rollins for the Raw World Championship. And that was Smackdown, like I talked about this morning on GMWF. That was my pick for AJ Styles to win tonight, and then have Styles and Rollins at NOC to win this title. And like I said this morning, my pick for this match is definitely AJ Styles, but I'm sure no matter who wins though, these two are going to have a great match, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And now what I want to talk about, yes, that was SmackDown tonight. Pretty good episode, I thought. And now what I want to get into about this Raw World Championship once again, and the tag team titles as well, which they haven't actually said if both titles are going to be defended on both shows, since Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were both drafted to Monday Night Raw as a package deal in the draft. But now they have Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, who are on SmackDown, also drafted as a package deal, along with Paul Heyman, challenging Zayn and Owens for the tag team titles at Night of Champions, May 27th. And that's the thing. I don't know. So what happens if Reigns and Solo win? Will the titles still be defended on both shows, or will they be exclusive to SmackDown then? Or, well, does that mean also Zayn and Owens will be appearing on SmackDown for the build-up to Night of Champions? And also, the same thing I've been saying about the new Raw World title, about having the tournament matches on SmackDown for it, even though this is supposed to be a Raw title. And if Styles does win against Rollins, does that mean he will be moved over to SmackDown, or moved over to Raw now? I hate to say it, but it kind of seems, and I'm not trying to be too negative or anything, like a lot of wrestling podcasts and wrestling fans online, but it kind of seems to me like WWE is already blowing this brand split after I guess you could call it the new brand split after the most recent draft. I even mentioned this before on the podcast, that usually they at least last a couple months or so, and until they start having Raw talent on SmackDown and the other way around. But this draft, it's only been a couple weeks, and already they kind of, I don't know if I would say convoluting it, but kind of they're close to messing it up with the tournament matches being on Smackdown and the tag team titles, the men's and the women's, Owens and Zayn, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, they were drafted to Raw. But before, those tag titles were on both shows, and they haven't really explained what the situation is. And of course, Morgan and Rodriguez were on SmackDown tonight too. But who knows, maybe it's just me being nitpicky and being a little silly. But let me know what you think. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments right here on Spreaker or the website or app you are listening to on. If there's a comment section, let me know. Also, you can listen on YouTube, and let me know in the comment section there what you think about this new brand split just a couple weeks or so after the new draft. So that's all for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 403. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Appreciate you for listening. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions of any kind, in the comment section. Also, if you have a product or a business, anything you want to advertise, let me know. 360 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com. Hopefully you can work something out. I'll try to do a good read for your product or business. I'll try to talk better and more clearly than I normally do. And I hope I can advertise for you here on 360 Wrestling Podcast. I hope to have new episodes of 360 Wrestling Fanatic coming in at you real soon. Also, tomorrow morning, the Saturday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. But until tomorrow morning, hope everyone has a great Friday night. I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.